Hello, ISA. Time for a special Training Tuesday request video. We had a request to talk about dual wielding. And one of my training friends and one of the lords of the ISA, Sean Fricks, he will be writing up a dual wielding treatise to add to the guides as well that specifically covers a lot of the Eastern sword styles. But I want to give a brief overview of it today and talk about it very conceptually. Dual wielding is considered to be obviously more difficult than single wielding for a couple of reasons. Number one, first and foremost, you have two blades that you have to consider in each hand. And when you talk about the lightsaber, if you're not paying attention to one, it may well lop your own hand or your own foot off or something like that. One of the famous aphorisms is that a dual wielder is just as dangerous to themselves as they are to the opponent. And for having done a little bit of HEMA and Kendo and things like that, I can tell you there are some who are extremely good at it, and they got that way by insane amounts of practice. The coordination required, especially if you're dealing with a single-edged weapon or double-edged weapon, or in our case, a 100% edged weapon, you are dealing with increased variables. And in any kind of a fight situation, the more variables, the more dangerous it is, especially when you inflict them upon yourself. So there's a couple of different types of Jerkai. The first and most common is actually equitable sword length. So you're talking about two blades or two weapons that are of equal length, weight, and type. So it's very traditional to see the Minamoto and Musashi style of two swords at once. And ironically enough, yes, by the end he did use two wooden swords against actual steel swords because they were faster, and he was just that good. But again, you're talking about a lifetime of training, a lifetime of dueling, a lifetime of making it work. So there's a couple of different stances. There is the traditional back and forth. Now, this is very traditional in HEMA, but however, the back one is very traditionally a shorter blade or a stabbing blade. You usually use this to keep your opponent warded off or box them into where you want them to be to open their guard and come through their guard or their armor, or whatever it may be. So talking about equitable weight and type and length again, you get a couple of different ideas. There's the open stance, which is traditionally meant for stabbing through and layering on stabs and small slashes. Now, one of the problems is that when you use especially two long swords, you're going to tire yourself out real quick. Long swords are meant to be held two-handed and controlled two-handed, so the additional grip and control and finesse that you need to wield two long swords is going to be a strain on you, on your muscles, your memory, your breathing, everything, even your stance. Another alternative stance, one that I've liked to use in the past, is one out, one down. And I talk a lot about it's dangerous to cross your arms and to cross your footwork, and that still applies. When you've trained the idea, you can have you can add certain combos to it, such as an opening stab and an undercut, or even just the Eskrima idea of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going through each target in turn, from the hips to the head, the arms, the thighs, whatever it is. But again, you're talking about a lot of coordination training. And then one other part of this video, I did get some comments regarding the dual spinning that I talked about. Now, that was just for fun. I'm never going to take two swords and come into a fight like this. It's a cool exercise for coordination, and that's about it. So what I really recommend is that if you're going to start focusing on Jerkai, that you figure out what works best for you and start working on your defense as well as your offense. When you've got two swords, you have a distinct advantage if it's trained and no other way. If it's not trained or you're just going into it as an amateur, it's a liability and nothing else. So that's it for today, talking about some Jerkai as a bonus. Hope you all enjoyed this, and as always, Force serve you.